The stars looked peaceful from the observation deck of New Geneva Station. Captain Maria Santos watched the distant suns twinkle like diamonds against the black space. She never thought this would be her last quiet moment. For 50 years, humans had been part of the Galactic Confederation. It was a dream come true when the alien ships first arrived at Earth. 12 different alien races had joined together to explore space and share knowledge. The Thylorians looked like tall, thin people with blue skin. The Vorthak had 4 arms and tough, rocky skin. The Zalani moved like liquid metal and could change their shape. Humans were the youngest members of the group. They worked hard to prove themselves. Human engineers fixed broken alien machines with clever solutions. Human soldiers fought beside alien warriors in border wars. Human explorers found new planets and resources for everyone to use. At first, the aliens seemed happy to have humans around. They praised human creativity and called them the builders, because humans could make anything work, even with broken parts. Human children learned alien languages in school. Earth's cities had alien districts where different species lived together. But something was changing. Maria noticed it in the way alien council members looked at humans during meetings. Their eyes held fear now, not friendship. Whispered conversations stopped when humans walked by. Trade deals became harder to negotiate. Small conflicts started over nothing. Dr. James Park worked in the deep science labs under New Geneva Station. He was the team leader for humanity's greatest discovery yet. They had found a way to send messages instantly across the galaxy. No more waiting months or years for news from distant colonies. The breakthrough used something called quantum tunneling, but Park made it work in ways no one had tried before. "Maria, you need to see this," Park called over the communication system. His voice sounded worried. Maria left the observation deck and took the elevator down to the labs. The corridors felt different today. Usually, alien crew members nodded and smiled when they saw her. Today, they looked away or found reasons to walk in other directions. Park was standing next to a huge machine covered in blinking lights. Other human scientists gathered around him, their faces pale with worry. "What did you find?" Maria asked. "I was testing the new communication system," Park explained. "I picked up something by accident. The aliens have been sending secret messages to each other for weeks. They're planning something big." He handed her a small device that translated alien languages into English. The recorded voices were cold and businesslike. "The human problem must be solved quickly," said a Thylorian voice. "Their technology grows too fast. Soon they will be stronger than us." "Agreed," replied a Vorthak speaker. "They learn our secrets and improve them. This cannot continue." "The council has decided," added a third voice Maria recognized as the Zalani ambassador. "Operation Clean Slate begins in 6 hours. All human colonies and stations will be destroyed. No survivors." Maria felt ice in her stomach. "How many humans are scattered across the galaxy?" Park checked his computer. "About 8 million people live on Earth. Another 2 million are spread across 47 colonies and space stations, plus the research ships, mining operations, and exploration teams. Maybe 12 million total. And they want to kill us. All," Maria whispered. The attack began exactly on time. Maria watched from the command center as red warning lights flashed all around the station. The long-range sensors showed dozens of alien warships dropping out of hyperspace near human settlements. Earth's orbital defenses were the first target. The massive battle stations that protected humanity's homeworld exploded in silent flashes of light. The communication networks went dark, one by one, as alien ships destroyed the relay satellites. New Geneva Station shook as energy weapons hit its shields. Through the windows, Maria could see alien fighters swooping past like deadly birds. Human defense ships tried to fight back, but they were outnumbered 10-1. "Emergency evacuation," Maria announced over the station's speakers. "All humans to the escape pods immediately. This is not a drill." The station's alien crew members had already disappeared. They must have known what was coming. Some had probably been ordered to leave. Others might have been told lies about why they needed to go. Park grabbed Maria's arm as explosions rocked the corridor. "The quantum communication device! We can't let them have it." They ran through smoke-filled hallways to the lab. Other humans were gathering emergency supplies and running for the escape pods. Children cried as their parents carried them to safety. Scientists destroyed important research files so the aliens couldn't use them. Park worked frantically at his machine. "I'm sending a message to every human ship and colony that still has working receivers, warning them about the attack, telling them to hide." "How many will get the message in time?" Maria asked. "I don't know. Maybe half, maybe less." The station's main reactor started failing. Emergency lighting cast strange shadows on the walls. Maria helped Park carry the smaller pieces of his communication equipment. They couldn't save the big machine, but maybe they could rebuild it later. Their escape pod launched just as New Geneva Station exploded behind them. Through the small window, Maria watched pieces of her home tumbling through space. Other pods flew in different directions, carrying the lucky humans who had survived. The pod's radio crackled with desperate voices. Human colonies under attack. Ships calling for help that would never come. Families separated across light years of empty space. But there were other voices, too. Human captains reporting successful escapes from remote mining asteroids. Research teams confirming they had received Park's warning and were going into hiding. Deep space exploration ships changing course for secret locations. Park listened to the radio traffic and made notes on a small computer. "The aliens made a mistake," he said quietly. "What do you mean?" Maria asked. "They think like aliens. They attack the big, obvious targets first, the colonies with millions of people, the important space stations, the home world." Park's eyes were hard with anger. "But humans are everywhere. We're curious. We explore. We build small bases in places no one else wants to go." Maria understood. The mining operations on dead asteroids, the research stations in nebula clouds, the survey teams mapping empty solar systems. Exactly. They might have killed half of humanity today, but the other half is scattered across the galaxy like seeds. And now we know the truth about our alien friends. The escape pod's computer chimed softly. They were approaching a small moon where other human survivors had agreed to meet. Maria could see lights from other pods already on the surface. As their pod settled onto the rocky ground, Park opened the communication device he had saved. Static-filled voices reached out from across the galaxy. Human voices. Angry voices. Voices ready for war. "Admiral Chen here," came a strong female voice from a military research ship. "All surviving human forces, prepare for Operation Ghost Protocol. We're going underground." Dr. Webb responding from the Tau Ceti mining facility, said another voice. "We have supplies and equipment, ready to coordinate resistance efforts." More voices joined the network. Humans from places the aliens had forgotten or ignored. People who had been left alive by mistake. People who were about to become something the galaxy had never seen before. Maria looked up at the alien stars that had seemed so peaceful a few hours ago. Now they looked different, cold, hostile, but also full of possibilities. The aliens had wanted to solve their human problem. Instead, they had created something much worse. They had created humans with nothing left to lose. 6 months after the betrayal, Admiral Sarah Chen stood in a cave deep inside an asteroid. The rock walls were covered with salvaged alien technology and human-built computers. Cables ran everywhere like electronic vines. The air smelled of metal and determination. This was Haven Alpha, the first secret base of the human resistance. Chen had found this hollow asteroid drifting between 2 dead solar systems. No alien maps showed it existed. No trade routes came near it. It was perfect for humans who needed to disappear. "Report," Chen said to the holographic image of Dr. Marcus Webb. His research station was hidden in a gas cloud 300 light-years away. We now have contact with 237 human groups across the galaxy, Webb said. His voice sounded tired but determined. Mining operations, survey teams, research stations, even some merchant ships that were in deep space when the attack happened. How many people total? Chen asked. About 4 million survivors, maybe more. Some groups are still too afraid to make contact. Chen nodded. 4 million humans scattered across thousands of locations. The aliens thought they had solved their problem by killing 8 million people. They had no idea what the survivors were planning. What about supplies? Chen asked. Better than expected, Webb replied. The mining operations have raw materials. The research stations have advanced equipment. The merchant ships have food and medical supplies. We're building a trade network completely hidden from alien sensors. Dr. Elena Rodriguez walked into the command center. She had been one of the top alien technology experts on Earth before the attack. Now she led Haven Alpha's research team. Sarah, you need to see what we found, Rodriguez said. She was holding a small alien device covered in strange symbols. Chen followed Rodriguez to the laboratory section of the base. Human technicians were taking apart alien machines and putting them back together in new ways. The workbenches were covered with tools that looked like they came from different worlds. This is a Thylorian navigation computer, Rodriguez explained. We pulled it from a damaged alien fighter that crashed on the moon where you first landed. She connected the device to a human computer. Watch what happens when we combine their navigation system with our quantum physics. The screen showed a three-dimensional map of the local star systems. But this map was different from anything Chen had seen before. It showed not just where things were, but where they had been and where they would be. Past, present, and future overlapped in layers of light. Thylorian computers can calculate hyperspace jumps very precisely, Rodriguez continued, but they only think in straight lines. Human computers can handle chaos theory and multiple variables. When we combine them, she touched a control. The map changed to show possible flight paths through space. Instead of simple lines between stars, there were complex curves that twisted through dimensions Chen couldn't fully understand. We can now jump to places that aliens think are impossible to reach, Rodriguez said with a smile. Dead ends in hyperspace that actually connect to hidden routes. Empty space that isn't really empty. Show me, Chen said. Rodriguez programmed a course into the navigation system. On the map, a red line twisted through space in ways that made Chen dizzy to watch. The line seemed to fold back on itself, passing through the same point 3 times from different angles. This route would take an alien ship from here to the Vega system in 6 months, Rodriguez explained. But a human ship using our modified navigation could make the same trip in 3 days. Chen stared at the impossible route. Are you sure this works? We've tested it with unmanned probes. They arrived exactly where and when the computer predicted. Rodriguez disconnected the alien device. The aliens have been using hyperspace like a highway with fixed roads. We're learning to fly through it like empty sky. A communication alert interrupted them. Dr. Webb's image appeared on the nearest screen, his face excited. Sarah, we just intercepted alien military communications. They're planning a major operation to hunt down human survivors. Details? Chen asked, walking back to the command center. Admiral Thickvor of the Thylorian fleet is leading the search. They're going to check every asteroid, every dead planet, every place they think humans might be hiding. Webb paused. They're starting with the Kepler system. That's where the Morrison family set up their mining operation. Chen felt cold anger in her stomach. The Morrison family had 17 people, including 6 children. They were miners, not soldiers. They had been trying to stay hidden and safe. How long do we have? Chen asked. The alien fleet will reach Kepler in 4 days. Time to field test our new navigation system, Chen said. She turned to Rodriguez. How quickly can you install the modified computers on our ships? The fighter. Squadrons can be ready in 2 hours. The larger ships will take longer. Do it. Chen walked to the base's communications center. All human commanders, this is Admiral Chen. We're going active. Repeat, Ghost Protocol is now over. We're going to war. The next few hours were controlled chaos. Human technicians worked frantically to install the new navigation computers. Pilots tested the modified systems in simulators. Supply crews loaded weapons and equipment. Chen stood in the hangar bay watching her people prepare for battle. These weren't the same humans who had worked peacefully alongside aliens for 50 years. The betrayal had changed them, made them harder, more focused. Captain Maria Santos approached Chen. Santos had become one of the Resistance's best recruiters, traveling secretly between human groups to organize them into fighting units. The strike force is ready, Santos reported. 12 fighters and 2 support ships, all equipped with the new navigation systems. Good. What about weapons? Santos smiled grimly. Rodriguez's team has been very creative. We've taken alien energy, weapons, and modified them with human engineering. The aliens designed their guns to disable enemy ships. We redesigned them to destroy. Chen nodded. The aliens had always fought limited wars with rules and boundaries. They captured each other's ships and negotiated prisoner exchanges. They had never faced an enemy that wanted to completely destroy them. Remember, Chen told the assembled pilots, we're not just saving the Morrison family. We're sending a message. The aliens think they wiped out humanity. Time to show them. They made a mistake. The human ships launched from Haven Alpha in perfect silence. The modified navigation computers guided them along impossible routes through hyperspace. Space folded around them like origami made of stars. Chen watched from the command ship as they approached the Kepler system. Long-range sensors showed the alien fleet already in position around the asteroid where the Morrison family was hiding. Thylorian battlecruisers, Vorthak destroyers, and Zalani support ships, reported the sensor officer. 43 vessels, total. How many do we have? Chen asked, though she already knew. 14 ships, counting ours. The odds were terrible. In a normal fight, the aliens would destroy the human force in minutes, but this wouldn't be a normal fight. All ships, execute Plan Phantom, Chen ordered. The human ships split up and approached the alien fleet from impossible angles. The modified navigation systems let them appear and disappear like ghosts, jumping short distances through hyperspace without warning. The first alien ship exploded before its crew knew they were under attack. A human fighter had materialized directly behind it and fired at point-blank range. The alien shields, designed to stop long-range attacks, were useless against weapons fired from inside their defensive perimeter. More human ships appeared throughout the alien formation. Each one fired once or twice, then vanished back into hyperspace before the aliens could respond. It was like being attacked by angry spirits that could strike anywhere without warning. Admiral Thykvor's flagship tried to organize a defense, but the alien commanders had never faced an enemy that could ignore the normal rules of space combat. Their formation fell apart as ships scattered in all directions, trying to avoid the phantom attacks. Human ships. This is Admiral Thykvor. Came a transmission in accented English. We demand you surrender immediately. You are outnumbered and outgunned. Chen smiled as she ordered another wave of hit-and-run attacks. Admiral Thykvor, this is Admiral Chen of the Human Resistance. We have a message for your Galactic Confederation. She paused as 2 more alien ships exploded under human fire. You wanted to solve your human problem. Congratulations. You've created human survivors, and we're going to be your worst nightmare. The battle was over in 20 minutes. Half the alien fleet was destroyed. The rest retreated in confusion, their commanders too shocked to think clearly. The Morrison family was rescued safely. But, more importantly, the galaxy now knew that humanity was still alive, still fighting, and more dangerous than ever before. As Chen's ship returned to Haven Alpha, she received reports from across the galaxy. Other human groups had been inspired by the victory. Hidden bases were revealing themselves. Scattered survivors were joining together into larger forces. The aliens had tried to end the human story with betrayal and genocide. Instead, they had written the first chapter of something entirely new, a chapter written in fire and determination across the stars. The message arrived at Haven Alpha 3 weeks after the Kepler victory. It came through channels so secret that even Admiral Chen's communication experts needed 2 days to decode it. When they finally broke the encryption, the words on the screen changed everything. To the human resistance, we know you fight the Confederation. We want to help. The Zephyrians remember friendship. Chen stared at the message in her command center. Dr. Webb's holographic image flickered beside her, his face showing the same shock and hope she felt. It could be a trap, Webb said quietly. The aliens might be using other species to hunt us. Or it could be exactly what it looks like, Chen replied. Someone else who's tired of Confederation rule. The message included coordinates for a meeting, place in the Drift Nebula, a cloud of gas and dust where sensors didn't work well. Chen had heard of the Zephyrians during her years of service. They were bird-like people with beautiful wings and an amazing ability to navigate through space, without computers, but she had never met one personally. "I've been thinking about something," Dr. Rodriguez said as she joined them in the command center. "During my years studying alien technology, I noticed patterns. The Confederation always kept the best technology for themselves. Other species got older, simpler versions." "What do you mean?" Chen asked. "Take the Zephyrians. They're natural pilots, better than any computer at reading space currents and energy fields. But Confederation ships use artificial navigation systems instead. The Zephyrians are forced to work as navigators on alien vessels, but they never get to design or command their own ships." Webb nodded slowly. "The same thing happened to humans at first. We were great engineers, but we were only allowed to repair alien technology, not improve it. Not until we started making our own discoveries." Chen walked to the observation window. Outside, human technicians were working on captured alien ships, modifying them with impossible upgrades. The sight filled her with pride and anger at the same time. "The Confederation isn't just an alliance," she said. "It's a system designed to keep the older species in power and everyone else as servants." "Exactly," Rodriguez agreed. "And now that we're fighting back, other species might see their chance for freedom too." Chen made her decision. "Prepare a diplomatic ship. Small crew, best defensive systems we have. If this is a trap, I want us to be able to escape. If it's real," she left the sentence hanging. "If it was real, everything would change." 3 days later, Chen's ship dropped out of hyperspace in the Drift Nebula. The gas clouds glowed with soft colors that reminded her of Earth's aurora displays. Sensors showed almost nothing through the dense particles, but then a shape emerged from the glowing mist. The Zephyrian ship was unlike anything Chen had ever seen. Instead of metal and straight lines, it seemed to be grown rather than built. Curved surfaces flowed like water, and strange patterns covered the hull like feathers. It was beautiful and alien and somehow alive. "Human ship. This is Navigator Kreeth of the Zephyrian Council," came a voice that sounded like wind chimes made of silver. "Permission to come aboard?" "Granted," Chen replied. "Docking Bay 2 is open." The Zephyrian shuttle that entered the Yeo human ship was just as organic-looking as the larger vessel. It seemed to bend and flex as it landed, adjusting its shape to fit the available space. When Navigator Kreeth stepped out of the shuttle, Chen understood why humans had never seen Zephyrians in their natural form. The being before her was magnificent. Tall and graceful, with wings that shimmered like oil rainbows and eyes that held ancient wisdom. The Zephyrians in Confederation space had always worn heavy clothing and mechanical harnesses that hid their true beauty. "Admiral Chen," Kreeth said in that musical voice, "thank you for taking this risk. We know the Confederation hunts your people. Why should we trust you? Chen asked directly. Your species serves on Confederation ships. Kreeth's wing feathers ruffled in what Chen hoped was amusement, not anger. Serve. Yes, that is the word they use. But is a bird in a cage truly flying? The navigator walked to the observation window. My people have been slaves to the Confederation for 800 years. They tell us we are valued members of their alliance. They give us comfortable quarters and adequate food. They call us navigators and tell others we are important. But, Chen prompted, but we cannot leave, cannot build our own ships, cannot explore the sky paths our ancestors discovered. We guide Confederation vessels to destinations chosen by others, never to places we wish to see. Kreeth turned back to face Chen. When your people joined the Confederation 50 years ago, we watched with interest. Humans seemed different, creative, independent. We hoped you might change things. Instead, they tried to destroy us. Yes, and that is when we knew the truth. The Confederation will never allow any species to become truly equal. They fear independence. They fear change. They fear what we might become if we were free. Chen felt pieces of a larger puzzle clicking together in her mind. How many other species feel this way? More than you might think. The Korath who work in the deep mines, treated like living machinery. The Vectani who create beautiful art, but only what the Confederation approves. The Helix who can manipulate energy fields, but are forbidden from using their abilities for their own benefit. All slaves pretending to be partners, Chen said quietly. The younger species, yes. Those who joined the Confederation after it was already established. We never had a choice in the rules. We never had representation in the real decisions. Kreeth moved with flowing grace to a wall display showing the local star chart. But humans are different. You refuse to be caged. You fight back. You create new possibilities from old materials. The navigator touched the display with a wingtip. The star chart changed to show hidden routes through space that even human sensors had missed. This is why we came to you. The Zephyrians know every wind current and energy stream in this part of the galaxy. We can show you paths that Confederation ships cannot follow. Safe harbors where your people can rest and build strength. Chen stared at the display. The hidden routes connected dozens of star systems that appeared empty on official charts. Perfect. Places for human bases and supply depots? What do you want in return? Chen asked. Freedom, Kreeth replied simply. When this war ends, we want the right to fly our own ships to destinations we choose. We want to explore the deep sky paths our people discovered long ago. We want our children to know what it means to soar without chains. Over the following hours, Chen learned the true scope of the Confederation's control. The ruling council was made up only of the original species who had founded the alliance thousands of years ago. Every species that joined later was given a subordinate role and kept there through careful manipulation. They make sure we need them, Kreeth explained. The Korath are given mining equipment that only works with Confederation codes. The Vectani, artists, receive materials that must be ordered through Confederation suppliers. My people navigate with instruments that belong to the Council. A system designed to prevent independence, Chen said. Exactly. And if any species develops something new, something that might change the balance of power, they destroy it, Chen finished. Like they tried to destroy us. But the Confederation had made a mistake. By trying to eliminate humans completely, they had shown their true nature to everyone. Species who had accepted their subordinate roles for centuries were now questioning why things had to be that way. There are others, Kreeth said. Species ready to break their chains. The Korath have been secretly stockpiling raw materials. The Vectani have been developing new art forms that could revolutionize communication technology. The Helix have been experimenting with energy manipulation that the Council fears. Chen felt hope growing in her chest like a warm light. Your talking about revolution. We prefer to call it awakening, Kreeth replied with that wind chime laugh. The galaxy is waking up to what it could become. What do you need from us? What you're already providing. Proof that the Confederation can be resisted, evidence that freedom is possible, and perhaps... Kreeth hesitated. What? Weapons. The Ya. Ruling species have kept military technology restricted to their own forces. We have tools and knowledge, but no way to defend ourselves when the fighting becomes open. Chen nodded. Human weapons modified with alien technology were already proving devastatingly effective against Confederation ships. Sharing that technology with other oppressed species could tip the balance completely. There's something else, Kreeth said. Information. We know where the Confederation keeps its strategic reserves, which planets hold their military academies, where their communication networks have vulnerabilities. Chen smiled, and for the first time in months, it felt genuine. Navigator Kreeth, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. As the two ships parted ways in the Drift Nebula, Chen felt the weight of new possibilities settling on her shoulders. This wasn't just about human survival anymore. It was about liberating an entire galaxy from a system built on fear and control. The Confederation Council thought they had eliminated a problem by attacking humanity. Instead, they had awakened something that had been sleeping for centuries. Species across the galaxy were remembering what freedom meant, and they were willing to fight for it. The real war was just beginning. The Nexus system had been the pride of the Galactic Confederation for 3,000 years. 7 worlds orbited a stable star, connected by massive space stations and shipping routes that carried goods across half the galaxy. It was the economic heart of Confederation space, and everyone knew it was impossible to attack. Admiral Chen smiled grimly as her fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the system. 200 human ships appeared in formations that would have been impossible 6 months ago. Each vessel carried technology that shouldn't exist, created by combining human innovation with alien knowledge and the desperate creativity of species fighting for their freedom. All ships report ready, Captain Santos announced from the communications station. The former civilian had become one of Chen's most trusted officers, leading strike missions that seemed impossible until they succeeded. Zephyrian scouts? Chen asked. Navigator Kreeth confirms that Confederation fleet positions match our intelligence. 2,000 ships defending 7 worlds and 43 space stations. Santos paused. They're not expecting trouble. Chen nodded. The Confederation had grown arrogant over thousands of years of unchallenged rule. They believed their own propaganda about being invincible. That arrogance was about to become their weakness. Dr. Webb, status on our special weapons? Webb's voice came from the science station, excitement barely controlled in his tone. Phase generators are online and stable. Gravity manipulation systems are charged. The AI tactical networks are running final calculations. Phase generators. Chen still marveled at the technology Dr. Rodriguez had developed by combining human, quantum physics with Zephyrian space-folding knowledge and Korath crystal resonance techniques. The devices let human ships exist partially in normal space and partially in hyperspace at the same time. Confederation weapons couldn't hit targets that weren't entirely there. The gravity manipulators were a helix contribution, energy field. Experts who had been forced to use their abilities only for Confederation construction projects. Working with human physicists, they had created weapons that could crush enemy ships or fling them across star systems like toys. But the AI tactical networks were pure human genius. Every ship in the fleet was connected to a distributed computer system that could predict enemy movements, coordinate attacks, and adapt to changing battle conditions in real time. It was like having a single mind controlling 200 bodies. Korath mining charges? Chen asked. Deployed and ready, reported the weapons officer. 12,000 stealth mines positioned around the system's major hyperspace entry points. When Confederation reinforcements arrive, they're going to get a very unpleasant surprise. Chen had learned to love working with the Korath. They looked like walking boulders made of living crystal, slow and patient and incredibly strong. Confederation forces used them as expendable labor in dangerous mining operations. But Korath were also master engineers who understood matter and energy in ways that amazed even human scientists. The stealth mines were Korath crystals, grown around human fusion warheads and Vectani communication circuits. They were invisible to normal sensors, completely silent and devastating when they exploded. Any Confederation ship trying to jump into the Nexus system would materialize inside a minefield designed to destroy battle cruisers. Final systems. Check, Chen ordered. All ships confirm battle readiness. The responses came back quickly. Chen's fleet might be outnumbered 10-1, but every ship represented the combined knowledge and determination of 6 different species: human engineering, Zephyrian navigation, Korath materials science, Helix energy manipulation, Vectani communications technology, and combat experience learned through months of desperate fighting. Admiral, Santos said quietly, "We're receiving surrender demands from the Confederation Command Station. Put them through." Admiral Vextar of the Thylorian Navy appeared on the main screen. His blue skin was darker than normal, indicating high stress levels. Behind him, Chen could see other Confederation officers looking nervous. "Human terrorists," Vextar began, his translated voice filled with arrogance and fear. "You are severely outnumbered and outgunned. Surrender immediately and your deaths will be quick." "Admiral Vextar," Chen replied calmly. "I remember you from the diplomatic receptions on Earth. You used to praise human creativity and call us valuable allies." The Thylorian's face twisted with anger. "That was before we understood what you really are. A plague that spreads chaos wherever it goes. The galaxy will be safer when your species is extinct." "Interesting perspective," Chen said. "Tell me, how do you think the other species in your fleet feel about genocide? The ones who aren't part of your ruling council?" Vextar's expression flickered with uncertainty. "They understand the necessity of maintaining order." "Do they?" "All ships in the Confederation fleet. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Human Alliance. You don't have to die for the Confederation Council's fear. Any ship that stands down will be allowed to leave safely. We're not your enemies unless you choose to be ours." "Ignore her lies!" Vextar shouted. "All ships, attack formation! Destroy the human terrorists!" The Confederation fleet began moving into battle formation, but Chen could see hesitation in their movements. Some ships advanced aggressively, crewed by species loyal to the Council. Others moved slowly, their captains clearly uncertain about the situation. "All human ships," Chen announced, "execute Operation Lightning Storm." What happened next would be remembered as the moment the galaxy changed forever. The human fleet split into 3 groups and attacked from impossible angles. Ships phased in and out of normal space, appearing behind enemy formations and vanishing before return fire could reach them. Gravity manipulators reached across thousands of kilometers to crush Confederation vessels or fling them into each other. The AI tactical networks coordinated every movement. When Confederation ships tried to predict human attack patterns, the system adapted instantly. When enemy commanders attempted to reorganize their formations, human vessels anticipated the changes and struck at the weak points. But the most devastating weapon was something the Confederation had never faced before: coordinated rebellion from within their own ranks. "Korath mining vessel Deep Delver to human fleet," came a transmission in heavily accented English. "We stand with the Alliance, transmitting targeting data for Confederation ammunition depots." "Vectani art ship inspiration here," added another, voice like musical crystals. "Our communication arrays are jamming Confederation fleet coordination frequencies. Helix energy platform resonance announcing withdrawal from Confederation service. We will not fight for oppression." One by one, ships throughout the Confederation fleet began switching sides or simply stopping their attacks. The younger species, The ones who had been treated as servants and tools remembered what freedom might feel like. Admiral Vexitar's flagship tried to rally the loyal ships, but the battle was already over. Half his fleet had defected or withdrawn. The other half was being systematically destroyed by human ships that fought like ghostly predators. "This is impossible," Vexitar screamed over the communication channels. 200 ships cannot defeat. 2,000! "You're right," Chen replied as her flagship appeared directly above the Thylorian command vessel. 200 ships couldn't defeat 2,000, but we're not fighting 2,000. We're fighting maybe 800 ships crewed by species who still believe your lies. The rest have remembered what they really want." Chen's ship fired once. The gravity manipulator reached down and gently lifted Vexitar's flagship out of formation, carrying it away from the battle zone without damaging it. "Admiral Vexitar, you and your crew are now prisoners of war. You'll be treated according to the laws of civilized warfare, which apparently the Confederation has forgotten." The battle was over in 43 minutes. Of the 2,000 ships that had defended the Nexus system, 600 had joined the rebellion, 800 had withdrawn or surrendered, and only 600 had been destroyed or captured while fighting. But Chen knew this victory was just the beginning. Reports were already coming in from across the galaxy. The success at Nexus had inspired species on dozens of worlds to rise up against Confederation rule. The Helix had seized their energy research facilities. The Vectani had taken control of 3 major communication networks. The Korath had shut down mining operations that supplied raw materials to the Confederation military. "Admiral," Santos reported, "we're receiving a priority message from the Confederation High Council on Zentara Prime." "Put them through," Chen said. The screen showed the 5 beings who had ruled the galaxy for millennia. Ancient representatives of the species that had founded the Confederation, they looked exactly like the statues Chen remembered from diplomatic buildings. Proud, powerful, and completely convinced of their own righteousness. "Human Admiral Chen," spoke Council Leader Mordak, his voice carrying the weight of eons. "You have made a terrible mistake. This rebellion will be crushed, order will be restored. Your species will be eliminated completely this time." "Council Leader Mordak," Chen replied, "you've already made your mistake. You thought you could solve problems by killing the people who created them. You thought you could maintain control through fear and oppression. You thought the galaxy, Zentara Prime, hung in space like a jewel made of light and power. The capital world of the Galactic Confederation was beautiful beyond imagination, with crystal cities that reached into the clouds and orbital rings that sparkled like halos around the planet. For 10,000 years, it had been the center of galactic civilization. Today, it would become the birthplace of something entirely new. Admiral Chen stood in the command center of her flagship, surrounded by holographic displays, showing the largest fleet ever assembled in galactic history. 3,000 ships from 47 different species had gathered for the final assault. Human vessels with their impossible technology flew alongside Zephyrian scouts with living hulls. Korath mining ships converted into mobile fortresses, and Helix energy platforms that hummed with barely contained power. "All ships report ready for the final phase," Captain Santos announced. Her voice carried the weight of everything they had fought for over the past year. "The Liberation Fleet is in position." "Casualties from the journey here?" Chen asked. "Minimal," Dr. Webb reported from the science station. "The Confederation's last-ditch attempts to stop us cost them more ships than they cost us. Their desperation is showing." Chen nodded grimly. The journey to Zentara Prime had taken 3 weeks, fighting through increasingly desperate Confederation defenses, but every battle had brought more species to their cause. Even some of the older Confederation loyalist species had begun to question whether genocidal orders were worth following. "What's the status on Zentara Prime's defenses?" Chen asked. "Impressive, but outdated," reported Navigator Kreeth, the Zephyrian's musical voice carrying undertones of satisfaction. 20,000 defense platforms, 1,500 warships, and energy shields that could protect the planet from a supernova. The Confederation Council believes they are invulnerable. Believing something doesn't make it true, Chen replied. Dr. Rodriguez, are our countermeasures ready? Dr. Rodriguez looked up from her engineering station with a tired but determined smile. The combined species technology integration is complete. We have solutions for every type of defense the Confederation uses. Some of them are going to be very surprised by what we've accomplished. Over the past year, the rebellion had become something unprecedented in galactic history. Not just a war between species, but a cooperation between them that created possibilities none had imagined alone. Human creativity combined with Zephyrian navigation, Korath engineering, Helix energy manipulation, Vectani communication systems, and dozens of other species' unique abilities. The result was technology that transcended what any single civilization could achieve. Ships that could phase through dimensions while manipulating gravity and predicting the future. Weapons that turned enemy shields against themselves. Communication systems that could reach every inhabited planet in the galaxy simultaneously. Incoming transmission from the High Council, Santos reported. Put them through, Chen ordered. Council. Leader Mordak appeared on the main screen, but he looked different than before. The ancient being's confidence had cracked, replaced by something that might have been desperation or fury. Admiral Chen, Mordak said, his voice carrying the weight of millennia, you stand at the edge of destroying galactic civilization. The Confederation has maintained peace and order for 10,000 years. Without our guidance, the galaxy will collapse into chaos and war. Council leader, Chen replied calmly, you've maintained control through fear, not peace. You've created order by forcing billions of beings into servitude. That's not civilization. That's a very sophisticated prison. We have protected the younger species from their own destructive impulses. You've prevented them from growing up, Chen countered. You've kept them as children so you could remain their parents. But children grow up whether you want them to, or not. Mordak's ancient face twisted with anger. You will not lecture us on wisdom, human. Your species has existed for barely a moment. We have guided galactic development since before your world knew fire. And that's exactly the problem, Chen said. You've been in charge so long that you think the galaxy belongs to you. You've forgotten that leadership is supposed to serve the people, not rule them. She gestured to the tactical display showing the massive fleet surrounding Zentara Prime. Look around you, 47 species working together voluntarily. No one is being forced to follow human orders. No one is being kept in subordinate roles. Everyone contributes their best abilities because they choose to, not because they have to. Chaos, Mordak spat. It will never last. The moment you face real challenges, your alliance will collapse. Maybe, Chen admitted. But at least they'll face those challenges as free beings making their own choices. That's better than being safe slaves in your cage. The council leader's expression hardened with ancient resolve. We will not surrender galactic civilization to terrorist anarchists. If you attack Zentara Prime, we will activate the Omega Protocol. Chen felt ice in her stomach. Intelligence reports had mentioned the Omega Protocol, but details were scarce. Explain. Rather than allow the galaxy to fall into chaos, we will detonate the planetary core of Zentara Prime. The explosion will destroy everything within 50 light-years, including your entire fleet. We would rather see civilization ended than perverted by your rebellion. The command center fell silent. Chen stared at the ancient being on her screen, seeing madness masquerading as wisdom. You're willing to commit genocide to maintain your power, she asked quietly. We are willing to make the ultimate sacrifice to preserve order, Mordak replied. You have exactly 1 hour to withdraw your fleet and surrender unconditionally. After that, we will choose destruction over defeat. Transmission ended, leaving Chen facing the hardest decision of the war. Around her, Officers from half a dozen species waited for orders. The fate of not just the rebellion, but potentially billions of innocent lives on Zentara Prime hung in the balance. "Admiral," Santos said quietly, "we could withdraw. Fight a longer war. Eventually we'd win without risking the planet." "No," Chen said firmly. "If we back down now, they'll use the same threat every time we corner them. The Confederation Council has to learn that they can't hold entire worlds hostage to maintain their power." "So what do we do?" Dr. Webb asked. Chen smiled, and for the first time in weeks, it was a genuine expression of hope. "We do what humans do best. We solve an impossible problem with creativity and stubbornness." She turned to the communication station. "Open a channel to all ships in the Liberation Fleet, and patch it through to every communication network in the galaxy. I want everyone to hear this." When Santos nodded that the channel was open, Chen began to speak. "People of the galaxy," she said, her voice carrying to billions of listeners on thousands of worlds. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Liberation Alliance. In 1 hour, the Confederation High Council plans to destroy Zentara Prime rather than allow democratic government to replace their dictatorship." She paused, letting the implications sink in. "They would rather murder billions of innocent people than give up power. This is what 10,000 years of absolute authority has created. Leaders who see mass destruction as preferable to sharing control with those they claim to protect." Chen looked directly into the camera, speaking to every being in the galaxy. "But we have another choice. We can show them what civilization really means. What cooperation can accomplish when people work together voluntarily instead of through force." She gestured to Dr. Rodriguez, who began activating systems throughout the fleet. "The Liberation Alliance has developed technology that can save Zentara Prime. We can disable the Omega Protocol safely, protect the innocent people on the planet, and remove the High Council from power without destroying anyone. But we need help from every being in the galaxy who believes in freedom over tyranny." On screens throughout the fleet and across thousands of worlds, technical specifications began appearing. Instructions for modifying communication arrays, power grids, and transportation systems to work together as a single galactic network. What you're seeing is the blueprint for a planetary protection system that uses the combined infrastructure of the entire galaxy, Chen explained. Every communication satellite, every power plant, every transportation hub working together to create a shield that can contain any explosion and safely disperse its energy. The technical requirements were staggering. It would require voluntary cooperation from millions of beings across thousands of light years, all working in perfect coordination without any central authority forcing them to comply. "This is your choice," Chen continued. "You can help save Zentara Prime and prove that voluntary cooperation is stronger than forced obedience, or you can watch as the old order destroys itself rather than change. The system will be ready in 57 minutes if enough people choose to help. The decision is yours." Chen closed the channel and waited. Around her, the command crew monitored communications from across the galaxy. The response was immediate and overwhelming. "Power stations on Vega Prime reporting ready to link into the network," Santos announced. "Zephyrian navigation platforms, synchronizing their systems," added Kreeth. "Korath mining facilities offering their energy reserves," Webb reported.